take mine down when I... Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. If I could get everyone to be seated, we'll get started in the next couple of minutes. Thank you. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'd now like to invite our CEO, Melanie Wilson, and our General Manager of Membership and Network, Lisa McIlroy, to the podium.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. What a pleasure it is to finally be here today. For 18 months, I've anticipated this moment. I've had the pleasure of attending 6 district AGMs, pre-COVID of course, and a number of district council meetings, which have been an excellent introduction to the business. And I'm thrilled that today we can come together for this important forum. The COVID-19 pandemic has changed our world. Face masks, hand sanitisers, social distancing, and a reliance on technology. This AGM and our discussions today wouldn't be possible without technology, and I congratulate the team for making it happen so seamlessly today. I also thank each and every one of you for making the time to attend today, be it here in Brisbane or at one of our satellite sites around the state. You are the very heart and soul of our organisation, and I sincerely thank you for the invaluable contribution you make to our organisation and the work done each and every day to support veterans. It's very exciting for me today to be able to talk to so many of you in person about what RSL Queensland is currently doing and our hopes for what we can achieve together over the coming years. First and foremost, I'd like to say that it is an absolute privilege to be charged with the stewardship of this organisation, and it's an honour I do not take lightly. For those who don't know much about me or where I came from, before I joined RSL Queensland, I worked for Surf Life Saving, which shares many characteristics with RSL Queensland. It too is an iconic Queenslander that most people grew up with. It's peopled by passionate volunteers, it's a membership organisation within a federated structure, and it's funded through an art union. It's also well known for its clubs which offer meals, drinks and gaming. I only tell you this because there are many similarities between the two institutions, and they share some of the same challenges, including how we remain relevant in a rapidly changing world, how we demonstrate and deliver value to our members, how we ensure compliance and governance requirements and ensure a much greater level of transparency to stakeholders, and how we better engage our volunteers and our employees to benefit the veteran community. My introduction to RSL Queensland has been both energising and enlightening. I've thoroughly enjoyed learning about this wonderful organisation, its rich and inspiring history, its challenges, both past and present, and the incredible opportunity we have to make a significant difference to our veterans and their families. Everybody that I have met during my initial 18 months has been incredibly supportive and very willing to engage in the journey that we are embarking on together. And I feel rewarded every day by my decision to join this organisation and to serve our veterans. I want you all to know that we're listening. We've heard you and we're acting. There are some significant positives underpinning our organisation which we can all build upon, including that our members, you, feel so passionately about our organisation and about making a difference for veterans and their families. We have a critical mass. Including that so many of our members are stepping up and stepping in to actively help their fellow veterans. I hear stories about your work every day. Including that we also have social licence. Our research tells us that veterans, the public, and government want RSL to step up, to represent all veterans, and to help them solve challenges. Over the past 18 months, however, as I have been listening very close to you, to what you've been saying, I hear and share your deep concern that our membership is sharply declining and that people are not as able and willing to volunteer their time. I've heard about the challenges of ATDP accreditation and the impact these changes are having on those who wish to contribute. I see sub-branches being torn apart by rival factions and the culture of mateship and working together for a common purpose being eroded. I understand your concern that the RSL we are all so passionate about is no longer seen as relevant by the younger cohort of veterans. I also understand that you feel State Branch hasn't always provided the support you've needed, and that in the past there have been some decisions which were questionable at best and indefensible at worst. And while I do acknowledge these decisions, I also want to caution that holding on tightly to the past does not allow us to move forward. I've clearly heard from many of you that you are not happy with the current situation for your sub-branch. So what do we need to change? It's important, I think, to talk in some detail about why staying as we are is not an option. Here are some confronting statistics. This year, we had 60 new members join us in the month of September. We've had a total of 894 new members join us since the start of January. However, we've had 71 members pass away in the month of September alone, and have lost 875 members since the start of 2020. It's sad when people you know become people you knew. In September 2020, we called every member that had not yet renewed this year. 1,377, nearly 1,400 of these members still chose not to renew despite our best efforts. If we look at the demographic of our membership, out of every 100 members we have, there are 76 members who are over 60 years of age. So we're talking about some 24,825 members who are over 60, of a total membership of about 32,000, so almost 80%. And we have 56 members in every 100 who are over 70 years of age. That's nearly 18,500 members within our organisation. We also have some sub-branches in trouble. We have at least 12 sub-branches facing significant financial challenges today, and almost entirely these issues are related to sub-branches that are amalgamated entities. Our member numbers affect our volunteer base. And without question, this affects advocacy and welfare work from sub-branches. But in addition, it also affects the ability for sub-branches to form committees. And without a committee, the sub-branch cannot govern. It cannot meet its regulatory requirements and cannot be sustainable. There are also some significant cultural issues within some sub-branches. We currently have 8 members before the tribunal for conduct unbecoming a member. We currently have 4 live independent investigations on foot where we have become aware of extremely concerning activity occurring inside sub-branches. And we are currently managing 15 sub-branches on a high alert list, where my team and I meet weekly to tackle issues together ranging from poor financial health to significant governance and legal concerns to issues of conduct and behaviour. I think you'll agree that what is at stake is our very survival as a proud 104-year-old organisation if we stay the way we are. We are all troubled by the membership decline, and if it continues, we're looking at an Australia without the RSL, and to me that is unimaginable. These concerns have powered the development of our 2025 strategy. The RSL Queensland 2025 strategy is about refocusing all of our efforts on our why we exist. What is our purpose as an organisation? What are our beliefs? What is our cause? And how can we unify many independent entities behind a common goal? Our purpose at RSL Queensland, as I hope you've heard, is to ensure a bright future and an enduring legacy for all veterans and their families. We share this purpose. And at no time in any of the discussions I've had, in any of the discussions Lisa and her team are currently having with each sub-branch, has anyone disagreed with this statement. One key thing we have heard, however, is that not everyone understands what we mean when we talk about the RSL Queensland 2025 strategy, and so I'm using my time with you today to discuss it in some more detail. In October last year, your board endorsed the adoption of a 2025 strategy for RSL Queensland. Just for a second, let's stop the management speak, if you like. In practical terms, this means that we, as RSL Queensland, have a strong, detailed plan to bring our mission to life and build a stronger future for all of us, together. This plan will help us deliver on our common shared vision. And this vision is to be the most valued and trusted partner to enrich the Australian Defence family's quality of life. But lofty purpose and vision statements are just that, statements on a wall somewhere, unless they're supported by goals and plans to achieve what we set out to achieve. For RSL Queensland, there are some key areas that we need to focus on to bring this vision to life. And these areas are our 3 strategic goals. And each of these strategic goals plays a part in ensuring a successful future for all of us, for sub-branches, for districts and state branch together. The first strategic goal is relevance. The RSL has to be relevant to all veterans, from all conflicts and all backgrounds. Without relevance, we can't thrive. Our second goal is about influence. The RSL must be the leading voice for the defence community. We must have the right connections and level of influence to enable us to push for change that will create better support systems for veterans and truly ensure that no Australian veteran is left in need. Our third goal is about sustainability, ensuring our organisation's future so we can continue to thrive into a second or even third century, and that we can fund the programs that will enable us to deliver on our vision and on our purpose. So if the three strategic goals that we just discussed are the what we will do, our strategic pillars and enablers are how we will do that. These break down our goals into 6 areas that will help us realise our vision and purpose. The first of these 6 areas is impactful veteran outcomes, delivering innovative outcomes that positively impact veterans' quality of life. The good news is we're already well advanced in this work. Our research partnership with Gallipoli Medical Research Foundation has delivered valuable insights that are already shaping our service offering, particularly our employment program, which is now being rolled out nationally and which you heard the Minister speak of this morning. Most importantly, it provides us with the confidence of knowing we are providing targeted interventions that will provide positive outcomes for veterans and their families throughout their lives. Our landmark Defence Family Research Project in 2018 identified key gaps in quality of life across veterans' defence journey. We know that ADF members experience a significant decrease in their quality of life during transition. And this is usually the first time they engage with us, often already at crisis point. And frankly, this is too late. Which is why we are actively engaging with ADF members even while they are still serving, to deepen our relationships with them and ensure they know what's available to them in service and during the critical period of transition. We are focused on evolving our range of services to cater to veterans' needs across all stages of the defence journey so that we can support them before their needs become critical. The second pillar is reimagined membership. This is about making sure that RSL membership is something that veterans of all ages, genders and ethnicities aspire to. We need to attract more members, so we generally do represent all veterans' voices, including the younger cohort. But the question is, how do we do that effectively? In a moment, Lisa will talk in more detail about the work underway now on the development of what we call a member value proposition. A member value proposition is fundamentally about understanding what veterans want and need from our organisation and ensuring that membership of RSL Queensland is attractive to them. I want to be clear that in some cases this will be about challenging the status quo. Some of our current processes are actually barriers to new members joining, and we have to make it easier for veterans to join our ranks. And once they do join us, how do we ensure that they don't immediately leave us at the end of their first year of membership? How do we secure the long-term viability of your sub-branches through succession planning and increase the numbers of volunteers contributing throughout the year? We're also working to improve the support available to and our communication with our vital sub-branch network. This is why we've established a new portfolio within RSL Queensland called Membership and Network, dedicated wholly to your service. And you will hear more about how this is structured and who will be available to help you in your sub-branch when Lisa speaks shortly. The final pillar is veteran peak body. This is about leveraging our relationships with the state and federal government, with Defence, with other ESOs and other RSL state branches to streamline the veteran support system, increase collaboration and increase our ability to influence policy outcomes. These pillars will be enabled by another 3 areas of focus. The first of which, our contemporary and scalable service offering, is about using all of the research, learnings, and experience in our service delivery team to markedly scale up, reach and support an increasing number of veterans across Queensland and Australia in coming years. This might mean changing the way we deliver services. In fact, this year alone, we've seen the positive impact of change through new telehealth services offered across Queensland, improving our reach and access to veterans who may not be able to attend sessions in person. The second, reinvigorating our brand. This is about reclaiming the RSL brand and creating better understanding of the importance of RSL's hard work in the community. I don't think it will come as any surprise to those of you who are here today, but we know that there is significant confusion in the community about exactly what RSL is, and equally important, what it is not. The vast majority of Australians believe we run clubs, that we are commercial entertainment venues filled with alcohol and gambling. They do not understand that we are first and foremost a membership organisation and also a service delivery organisation that supports those who have served our country with honour. This brand confusion undermines our ability to attract new members and our ability to be seen as relevant to the many veterans who currently do not think that RSL has anything to offer them, either as members or clients who may need our help. We will be launching a brand strategy in mid-2021 to address all of these issues. And of course, maintaining a sustainable lottery and growing our revenue sources will help us do more for veterans throughout Australia as well as for our member base. Now, I'm aware that this is an ambitious strategy, but it is a necessary step to ensure our organisation will still be here for veterans for the next 100 years. It's going to take each and every one of us here in this room and throughout the state speaking with the same voice and working toward the same goals to achieve our vision of being the most valued and trusted partner to enrich the Australian Defence family's quality of life. We have two choices ahead of us. We can keep to our current path, and I've clearly heard from many of you that not changing is not an option. Our survival as a proud Queensland institution is at risk. Or we can make this journey together towards a brighter future for the organisation. I believe we can do it. I believe our most exciting and defining moments are ahead of us. In a moment, I'd like to share a video which gives a glimpse of the RSL Queensland that I hope we will all build together by 2025. And then I'll hand you over to Lisa McIlroy, your General Manager for Membership and Network, to talk through exactly how we're putting this plan into action.
Morning, everyone. Nice to see you all here, and thanks, Mel, for the introduction. As I look around the room, I can see many familiar faces that I've seen as part of the sub-branch discovery, and hopefully at lunch I'll get the opportunity to meet some of you that I haven't met already. So this morning you've heard from Mel just in terms of what we're going to achieve over the coming 4 years. I'm going to talk in a little bit more detail about how we will do that and what we've already done in 2020. I've been working closely with the district presidents to ensure that the support and structures that we put in place to work with our sub-branches are fit for purpose. I've interviewed each of your district presidents, and what I've heard was a genuine connection and passion for the veteran community and a desire to serve that community. There was enormous pride in the role that RSL has played over the years to support the veteran community. A greater need for understanding of the role districts play in supporting sub-branches, a need for greater engagement and better communication with sub-branches and state branch. I also heard consistently from the district presidents about the issues facing sub-branches, and those included financial management and governance, declining and non-representative membership across age and geography, a lack of IT infrastructure and struggles with technology and equipment, and a need to diversify income streams through fundraising and grants. This input has firmly guided my thinking as we've assembled our new membership and network team, and I'll introduce you to some of the core members of this team shortly. But first I'd like to talk about the team's purpose. Firstly, we're here to build relationships, collaboration and trust between sub-branches, districts and state branch. I want to improve your satisfaction and ensure that we are working collaboratively and building on the success stories across our many and varied sub-branch models, and that we are marching in the same direction towards similar goals. We are also here to listen to you so that we can deeply and fundamentally understand your needs, and then deliver tailored support that will help your sub-branches grow and thrive into the future. We will be building capability and capacity of our sub-branches and to ensure their financial health and sustainability with improved governance standards. We will embed processes and advice to help ensure more consistency across the sub-branch network. We are also responsible for growing and retaining the membership across the network. The first step in this is developing the member value proposition, which Mel talked about. I'll discuss this in a little bit more detail in the presentation. We are also focused on developing a consistent and exceptional member experience each and every time a member interacts with either state branch or a sub-branch. But above all, our role is to ensure that we advocate for you, for members and sub-branches, that we are truly the voice of the member in our organisation. So to deliver this, I'm currently standing up a team that focuses on 2 key areas: network and membership. Both of these teams will be structurally aligned to our regional veteran services team to ensure consistent support to districts and sub-branches across the state. Our network team is focused on financial management and governance challenges and developing the fundraising capabilities of sub-branches. The network team also includes your district secretaries who perform incredible work in your district every single day. The team will be led by our newly appointed Head of Network, Marius Daniels. Marius has worked with RSL Queensland since 2017 as our Head of Finance, so he has enormous organisational knowledge and capability in supporting sub-branches from the financial perspective. Our membership team is focused on local membership growth. We will have local team members working directly with you at a sub-branch level to help you promote membership to your local veterans. We will also have a centralised membership services team working from Anzac House to support sub-branches with core membership activities, such as processing membership, maintaining the database, and supporting and streamlining the renewal process. This team will be led by our newly appointed Head of Membership, Teresa Brooke. Many of you will have already met Teresa in her previous role as part of our Charities Compliance team, where she worked closely with sub-branches on matters of compliance and reporting. Teresa is a veteran herself, and so she brings a deep and personal understanding of the issues facing many veterans and their families. I'd like to play a short video to introduce both Teresa and Marius.
If I think about the impact that this team will have at a grassroots level, here we have sub-branches that are truly struggling. They are comprising of volunteers who are being asked to do governance, legal, financial, commercial, and they're the lifeblood of the RSL because our membership belongs to a sub-branch.
Membership is incredibly important for sub-branches out at a grassroots level. Without membership, we don't have succession, and we won't be able to carry on in the future providing the wonderful support to veterans and their families. My role is a very new role. Our first focus at the moment is truly understanding how we can best help the districts and sub-branches going forward in retainment of membership, growing that membership and the membership experience.
Through a stronger sub-branch network and a stronger network overall, we have an opportunity to work collaboratively with our sub-branches, with our members, to start growing our membership again, to revitalise that there is a pride of being a member of the RSL.
As an ex-serving member myself, and the wife and the mother of an ex-serving and serving members, I've seen the impact that serving in the service environment can have on individuals and the challenges they face whilst in the service and after they get out. So I'm very passionate about making a difference for veterans and their families.
So today, Marius and Melissa are down the back of the room, and in Toowoomba today we've got Teresa and Leanne McNabb. So I encourage any of our delegates to have a chat with all of them in their locations at lunch, and we look forward to hearing from you. So what have we done so far? So since the Membership and Network team was established in July 2020, we've been working hard to establish our team structure and bringing some key deliverables for the 2025 strategy to fruition. There are 3 pieces of work I wanted to talk about in some detail today, which is our MVP, or member value proposition, our network discovery, and our tactical opportunities. Firstly, our member value proposition. So Mel spoke earlier about our need to reimagine membership for RSL Queensland. The first step of this process is to define the member value proposition for the organisation. This is a simple, compelling description of the value of membership. It's a reason to join RSL in the first place and a reason to stay once you're here. We need to be crystal clear on what we are offering our members, but equally we must better understand the things that we do not currently offer members that our competitors do. There are a large number of ESOs, over 4,000 of them are registered with the ACNC at last count. All of these ESOs are competing for attention, for members, for volunteers and for fundraising dollars. They are also delivering services because there are things that veterans need that we, RSL, are not currently delivering. So this project is about getting clear, consistent meaning across RSL Queensland about why veterans and their families would want to join us. And then it's about ensuring all of us consistently use this information to recruit new members. To do this, we have embarked on some research and partnering with a company called Kantar. So far, we have held 78 in-depth interviews with both RSL Queensland members and veterans who are not currently members to form our basic findings. This phase was completed in October, and now we are currently in the second phase of the project, where we are testing these findings with over 1,200 of our current members and non-members to ensure that we have a representative view across all ages, stages, service histories and genders. So the positive news is that the preliminary findings show that RSL is very well regarded for our commemoration work. We are also well regarded and viewed as having a real legitimacy and can speak in this sector with authority. The challenges, however, show that we are also perceived as irrelevant. Irrelevant for a lot of veterans and their families, and this is especially real for younger veterans. Our younger veterans also see us as for someone else. This means that they don't reach out to us for help when they most need it. We're also seen as transactional. All of the services that we offer, we are only known mostly for our claims assistance. This means that we're simply seen as a single point of connection between DVA and veterans, and not as an organisation that can engage at all stages of the veteran's life. We are also out of touch, so we are seen as a later life organisation that isn't interesting until a veteran reaches a certain age. We can shift these perceptions, and we can shift these perceptions by showing inclusiveness to all members of all ages and stages. And once this MVP work is finalised, we will share a tested and validated member value proposition with you, right across the network in early 2021. For sub-branches, it will include a suite of resources to help address the ongoing challenges of declining membership. Specifically, you will receive direct support to retain your existing members and toolkits to help you to attract new members, all based on this tested member value proposition. The second thing I'd like to talk to you about is a key project that most of you will have been involved in, called the Sub-Branch Discovery Program. While COVID made us detour a little bit and delayed the start of this program, we are rapidly making up for lost time. The Sub-Branch Discovery Program aims to ensure that all of our programs and support systems in the member and network team are solving the real and everyday problems experienced by sub-branches. We've been clocking up the kilometres. Marius has done 2,500 kilometres in North Queensland, and I've just returned from a fantastic visit in the far northern district. We hope to get to every single sub-branch by the end of March 2021. But to date, we visited 74 sub-branches and had conversations with over 500 individual board members and volunteers across every district. Our aim is to meet with 120 sub-branches by the end of this year, and we are on track to achieve this. So what have we heard from you in terms of this discovery? So we've been listening intently during these sessions, and while every sub-branch is unique, there are some clear common themes emerging across all sub-branches. And the first one is the governance challenges. The demands on volunteers who nominate as board members are significant, and we need to step up our training and support to ensure that they can discharge their duties confidently and competently. And then there's the succession planning. So because our membership is declining and due to the intense requirements for our volunteers, some sub-branches are struggling to form committees, and Mel talked about this in her presentation as well. So there is a need for us to continue in terms of the declining membership and improve membership and training sub-branch members in the knowledge and transfer of knowledge between committee members. This in turn creates a greater need for ongoing governance training across the state. Then we heard that you need marketing support. So sub-branches are very keen to promote their activities locally, but are feeling very challenged, particularly in the digital and social channels. Coaching, support and tools are needed to ensure sub-branches can reach the right audience with relevant information. And then we heard about the IT support that you need in sub-branches, and many sub-branches are struggling to keep up with the rapid pace of technological change and may be lacking general skills to maintain and purchase equipment. This can be a huge barrier to interacting and communicating with their local communities. And finally, we've heard about advocacy training, or ATDP. This is an ongoing challenge with the increased requirements for certification, making it difficult for volunteers to continue to deliver these services, although many of you are keen to do so. We know our volunteers are all proud of the role they play in supporting the veteran community, but we also know that our volunteers are working long hours to support veterans and their family, and we know that you need support too. So in solving some of these challenges, we know that some of them cannot be fixed overnight. There are some programs that RSL Queensland has been working to deliver to sub-branches before the end of 2020, and we're calling these the tactical opportunities. We know you need immediate support, so here's what we are doing right now. So the first thing is the Internet Adoption Program. Given that many sub-branches have similar struggles, and no doubt this year with COVID-19 has highlighted connectivity issues where they exist. RSL Queensland is helping sub-branches to access high-speed internet connections. We will provide both financial and technological support to get your connections up and running. This is available right now, and interested sub-branches can contact their district secretaries for further details. Many of you may have heard of the pilot that is currently underway in relation to managed IT services. We know that it can be difficult to purchase and maintain equipment you need to deliver valuable services in your local communities. We know you need IT support to keep that equipment working as you need it. That's why we're currently trialling an equipment package in 10 sub-branches, one in every district. Once we're sure the selected equipment is fit for purpose, we will begin rolling these packages out to the whole sub-branch network, supported by access to RSL Queensland's IT help desk for all sub-branches. I'm really excited to be able to share with you now the video of our first sub-branch, the Centenary Suburbs, who received their equipment 2 weeks ago.
My name is George Lefebvre. I am the president of the Centenary Suburb RSL sub-branch. The challenges that we have faced when it comes to IT have been many. Originally we had to use our own computer systems, and we had different types of software on each computers. Some of us had Windows 1918, others had Windows 1980. When state has to support disparate systems, it's hard for them to do so. So from the point of support, that was a challenge.
My name's Barry Russell. I'm the Head of IT Operations at RSL Queensland State Branch. So today we're out installing our very first sub-branch in our Managed IT Services program. That includes internet, includes desktops, Office 365 products, Teams video conference systems, including large screen TVs. We're also providing managed print, full access to the IT support help desk, the full works. It's an end-to-end solution for our sub-branches to take away that daily worry and distraction of IT problems out of their environment. Signing up for this program allows the sub-branches to focus on what they do best and what their core values are, supporting our veterans, supporting their families.
The main function of my sub-branch, and for that matter, any sub-branch, is to provide welfare support for our veterans. That's what we do. It's not something that you only do on certain days and at certain times. If a veteran calls, day or night, we must be ready and willing to support that veteran. So the new IT system will allow me to communicate with my board members, my welfare officers, my compensation advocates, so that we can initiate activities that will support the veterans effectively and efficiently. I think the initiative taken by state to roll out a standardised system to all sub-branches within RSL Queensland is an outstanding initiative. From a financial point of view, this project will assist me and all other sub-branches greatly in that we'll be able to refocus our money into immediate welfare support.
This is one of those awesome opportunities for us where we can get out, be with the membership, start taking away the noise, taking away the issues, taking away the problems for them, and actually use our skills to make their jobs better and easier. Even in the preliminary interviews we've done with some of the sub-branches, you almost feel a tangible sigh of relief as they can feel that weight coming off their shoulders of having to deal with some of these issues. So that's it's really nice. It's just a really nice outcome for us to actually see that and be part of that.
I'd just like to thank the Centenary Suburbs Sub-Branch President, George Lefebvre, for having us last week. George is in the room if at lunchtime you'd like to ask him about his new IT equipment. But this is an exciting moment for us. It's a fantastic day for sub-branches and a really exciting initiative that we believe will truly help our dedicated volunteers to focus on the fine work that you all do in your community. We'll be sending out more information on this program next year so you can register your interest for your sub-branch to be involved. We are also improving access to the Charitable Objects Fund. It has become really clear to me that many sub-branches are not aware of the Charitable Objects Fund, also known as COF. And those that are aware are finding it difficult in relation to the funding application process. COF provides funding to sub-branches to deliver welfare support to veterans in need, to improve their quality of life and provide access to core needs that will assist their welfare. In other words, it's at the very heart of the RSL Queensland objects. However, to date, the process to apply and equip for this funding has been very manual and difficult to understand. We are simplifying this process and embedding it into SCIP to provide access for everyone to this important tool and better equip sub-branches to help more veterans. We are also rolling out hospital care packs. You have told us that these packs are desperately needed to support sub-branch volunteers who conduct these important visits to veterans suffering ill health. Later this week, we'll be sending 100 packs to each district to trial some new items. Each of these packs will include things like toothbrushes, shampoos, combs, and some reading material that will help veterans who are in hospital. We will be seeking feedback from sub-branches on the items inside before we make these available year-round in 2021. We are also making some enhancements to SCIP. We are making some improvements to speed up our response times to you and provide notifications with new content. We're reviewing existing content as well to make sure it can be easily read, understood and actioned by you. And we are also planning new content to be launched in 2021. Within the next 3 to 4 weeks, I will send each sub-branch an information pack that will explain all of these initiatives in greater detail and tell you how you can register to access these services. What I hope that you take away from my presentation today is a reassurance to you that my team is here for the sole purpose of supporting and enabling sub-branches to grow and thrive. We are acutely aware that we need to provide you with meaningful, practical support that will make a real difference to how you support veterans in your local communities. And finally, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the district presidents, the district secretaries and all the sub-branch presidents and committee members that have welcomed me and my team into their sub-branches. You have been able to help us to understand the challenges facing our sub-branch network. And I know I speak for the team when I say it has been an absolute privilege to meet you. Together we will realise our purpose, a bright future and enduring legacy for all veterans and their families. Thank you.
Thank you, Mel and Lisa. I'd now like to open the floor up for general discussion. So firstly, I'd like to invite all executive team members based across the locations to move to your microphone so that we may cross you if required to answer any questions during general discussion. If you have a question you would like to ask, could you please approach the microphone, the floor microphone in your location. Event staff will advise me of any question to be asked, and I will call each speaker in turn. When you are called, please clearly state your name and sub-branch before asking your question. I please ask you also remain patient as we move through all delegates wishing to speak.
Peter Kinsella, Manly Loader. First off, I have trays that were arranged by state, at my request actually, to take large areas where we have people who do buy a lot of our badges. This one here is one that's 35 years old. We still use it because of the way it's been built. This one here is very good. It's engineered very well, but it has only lasted one outing. The problem is that it's made out of light cardboard. I just wish to point out that you need to have another look at it, and I presume other people have had the same problems. We bought 10 of them, most of them are gone already, but we've still got the 35-year-old one. That's my first question. The second one I was asked to bring up was welfare, retraining, retesting and everything like that. There appears to be a number of errors within the system. Has anything been done to correct them?
Melanie, I might turn to you to start.
Yeah, thanks, Peter. First thing I might ask, if that's okay, Peter, is if we take that box from you so we can take it away and have a look.
Not a problem.
If you're happy to leave that with Simon, I'm sure our marketing team will have a good close look at that for you. So thanks for bringing that to our attention. Secondly, in relation to welfare, I'm actually going to call on our General Manager, Veteran Services, Rob Skoda, who's at the meeting today in Townsville. Rob, can I pass to you? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I just would like to clarify the question regarding welfare, if possible, but what my understanding, I really need to understand whether that's to do with ATDP or ongoing engagement with RSL Queensland. If you could just get that clarified so I can respond appropriately.
Renewals. It's when you do retraining for the insurance, etc. I believe state is now doing that.
ATDP.
No, that's incorrect. Just to confirm that all insurances under the VITA, which is the Veteran Indemnity Training, I've forgotten the acronym, but essentially under VITA, the requirement is compliance with ATDP, which is the Advocacy Training and Development Program, the competencies achieved plus the ongoing CPD. What RSL Queensland has been endeavouring to undertake is additional engagement from RSL Queensland perspective, which will not qualify under the ATDP, but works on a collaborative model of support from both state branch as well as the sub-branches working together. Previously, we had a team prior to COVID that was going around the state doing that. In the COVID period, we've actually developed online training modules, which are now sitting with Marius from the member and network team, and as he goes around to the respective districts and sub-branches, he'll be engaging on those opportunities. And into 2021, we are growing our regional structure to ensure that not only do we're not just reliant on a few individuals delivering the training, it's actually a requirement of all of my regions to work with each of the sub-branches and those districts on a collaborative support model and the training required to achieve that as well. So we're moving from a very singular point of failure to a multiple support model based on our regional structure. And that's also why the member and network team are adopting the same structure so that we can work collaboratively with that approach.
My next question, has anybody actually checked to see that what's being taught is accurate? We had Toby previously. I pointed out that there were at least 3 contradictions in that Toby course. Is there something similar happening on these courses?
I'll step away from Toby because Toby is actually a governance capability, not a welfare-related capability.
I'm not arguing on that one. I'm just pointing out that Toby did have faults and it took a while to clean them up.
Okay, well, I'm more than welcome to take that up through the district and ensure that those inaccuracies are actually understood and resolved.
Thank you.
Anywhere else? Bernie, excuse me, Bernie Rushby from Yarraman in Moreton District. My question relates perhaps to the chairman. In regard to, or giving credence to the sporting activities recently in Queensland, have there been any strategies put in place or representations made or intended to be made in regard to Anzac Day next year?
So, good question. At this stage, I think what we need to really consider is that we don't preempt circumstances. So the Anzac Day Committee, which Wendy chairs, is currently taking contingency plan in relation to what may occur should we still have social distancing issues. It's certainly something that I'll be speaking with the Premier about going forward. And ideally, I think we just have to watch and act. It's just one of those circumstances, I think. I personally believe that if we can hold 52,000 people in a stadium, then people marching down the street shouldn't be too much of an issue.
Good, thank you.
You're welcome.
We now, sorry, over here.
Thank you. My name is Paddy Evans. I'm from Sandgate sub-branch. My question goes to, I guess, the board about relevance and the actual voice RSL Queensland has within Queensland. Recently we had an election. Unfortunately, we're only given 3 years' notice for that. And in the 2 months leading up to it, I peppered my state member about what policies were going forward in that election to boost veteran support. In the 2 months, he was able to provide me absolutely zero. Yet, 6 days before the election, there was an announcement in Townsville, you can read it as a marginal seat, sure, of an initiative of $10 million. And this was to build on $10 million provided at the previous election. They've called it Veterans Initiatives, yet half of that money that is being committed is actually not going to the veterans of Queensland. And what I mean is that the $10 million, half of it last election went to four and a bit over to Oasis. And for those in Townsville, I wish you all the very best with that initiative. It is a great thing. However, that was over half the amount of money for veterans and only addressed a microcosm of the veteran community. They then followed up with another $1 million for the memorial grants. Memorial grants is actually there to bail out councils because it's their responsibility to maintain the actual memorials in the majority of cases as they are the landlord. This election, they evened it up by putting $4 million into commemorations and grants, commemorations and monuments. Again, council responsibility. And another $1 million to Oasis. Terrific. Good for Oasis. And again, I commend them for their advocacy in doing it. When you look at $10 million across a state government who's borrowing a buttload of money to actually bail themselves out, I actually look at the numbers and think that we don't have a voice. I look at the numbers and say we don't matter. Was there any advice provided to state government in the lead up to the election from RSL Queensland about the policies that they put forward, or was it written by a bureaucrat?
So to answer your question shortly, we weren't even approached.
And unfortunately, that's my point.
Thank you.
Okay, there's two questions in Cairns. Can I have the first person in Cairns, please?
John Maskew from Edge Hill, Cairns West. My question is about advocacy and the training of advocates. Currently up here, we appear to have a very severe shortage of advocates, and I'm not sure that I've seen any fast tracking of training to improve the numbers. What's the state doing with regard to discussion with DVA and other areas in gaining more advocates and advocate training?
Thank you, John. I also will, in a moment, pass back to Rob Skoda, who's with you in... Oh, no, sorry, he's in Townsville. But just to start that commentary, I do know that we met recently with the Minister, and advocacy was certainly on our list of discussion points, and that there has most certainly been some movement in that space. But I'll hand it back to you, please, Rob.
Thank you very much, Mel. Thank you for the question from Cairns as well. The engagement with government on the advocacy is largely related around the Cornell review, which looked at the advocacy services that were currently available and into a future state. And as Mel has detailed, we are in ongoing engagement with the government on the opportunity of RSL Queensland to be able to grow that capability and actually become a true partner in that sense. And in fact, without preempting, tomorrow I've got a meeting with the Repatriation Commissioner tomorrow on this and other issues that we can work collaboratively on. I do have some insight, however, into the ATDP, and I note that some people are concerned that the ATDP is too onerous, too governed, and too cumbersome to be able to undertake that training. I can put my hand on my heart and say that if we were to take on that training and try and deliver it, I would require the same governance. The reality is that we cannot half-bake advocacy training and lower the standard, because our veterans will suffer. And as RSL Queensland, we see that, and I'm sure that advocates across the state do see on regular occasions where advocates have let people down. I'm not saying that we are totally immune here, but our training and standards that we develop are at a high standard, if not higher than that of ATDP. So I think if the question is regarding how do we streamline this or reduce the burden, the reality is that we don't, because our veterans require any advocate to have that governance, that expectation and that knowledge to be able to actively or effectively represent them and their needs to government.
Thank you for that answer. The question is actually, how do we actually fast track it? We have no desire to reduce the training in any way, but we need to get more advocates out as quickly as possible, because the veterans who require that service are actually suffering.
So I think, so if I look at the three components of the ATDP training, I think the component that's limiting at the moment would be the face-to-face component that you'll be referring to. And I guess your question is regarding, accelerating those and creating more frequency of those face-to-face. Would that be correct?
We actually don't have enough mentors to actually supervise the new people coming in, and there aren't enough, the people who do wish to become advocates have trouble actually starting it because they can't get mentors, because there aren't enough advocates around to supervise them. So it's a catch-22 situation. So my question is, how do we fast-track training with initial training to get people at a basic level so they can be mentored, and then they can start serving the veterans?
So the core limitation has been the lack of face-to-face training, which is the third component of the compensation, in particular, training delivery model. And that's part of the conversation that we have with the Minister's Office, DVA and the Commissioner at the moment, and it will be raised again tomorrow with him.
Thanks, Rob, and thanks, John, for your question. I believe we have another question in Cairns.
John Vickery, Gordonvale RSL. Cairns is an outer suburb of Gordonvale for those people who don't realise it. I am the coordinator of a pension and welfare module within the sub-branch, and I revel in the joy of being known as the switch bitch and deceptionist. I have done in the past tip training, but I'm not current at the moment because I can do the least damage by coordinating two wildcats in our organisation. My question relates to ATDP, and I'll start by qualifying it. It is overly complex for a lot of veterans who are potential volunteers who take one look at what's involved and walk away because it is too complex. My question is, has the RSL had any input at all into the development of ATDP with the view of acknowledging the complexity and the difficulties that complexity poses to the average volunteer?
I'm assuming that one's going back to me.
Yeah, back to you, please, Rob.
So the answer is yes. We have an ongoing engagement, primarily led through Margaret Jennings as part of RSL Queensland, with ATDP, identifying the shortfalls plus the strengths of the respective modules and the overall ATDP program. The reality is that in order to become potentially a compensation advocate, there is a high degree of training required, and that is not going to change. Now, some of the access, i.e. the online training, the mentoring component, yes, there are components in there that we're looking at the moment to see how we can work with the department to improve access and utilisation by our volunteers. However, I am not going to go down the path of trying to reduce the content nor the requirements of the program, because we need to ensure that anyone, in particular the compensation space, has the prerequisite skills, knowledge and experience to be able to effectively work with our veterans and support their needs to DVA. I would, however, be seeking to understand how we can improve the wellbeing training, because I think that's an area which may have lower overhead, but actually provide the real service that's needed in our community with our veterans who are either in their homes or hospitals or just seeking that connection and that support that they need to flourish in life. So I accept that there are some limitations with the program. We are engaging with the department and with the minister and the appropriate representatives from the department on a regular occasion. We're also doing that formally through RSL Queensland, but I am cautious not to try and push an agenda which erodes the training overhead.
If I may just add, I'm not looking at reducing the content. What I'm hoping is that the delivery of that content isn't quite the sledgehammer that it currently is, which scares off a lot of old diggers who gave up on administrivia 25 or 30 years ago. A soft introduction, I think, is very, very important, because we've had a number of potential volunteers who, after some mentoring, their eyes just roll and they wander off into the bushes again. So a softer landing or a softer starting point, recognising the skill set of the volunteers who really want to help, but it's just too much for them.
I appreciate that insight, and what I'd like to do is explore that further. So if I could ask Norma, who's up there with you at the moment, to connect us on email, and I'll get Margaret Jennings to reach out and understand the specifics that you're referring to, so that we can represent those effectively and see if we can reach any outcomes.
Yeah, and I would also endorse the comments of the previous speaker. Us guys in the north do tend to cut through the administrative at times, but it is getting harder and harder to encourage people, if there are not enough mentors, to hold their hand through the process.
Appreciate that insight. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know which of your magic wands you'll have to wave to get that done, but that's why you paid the big bucks.
Come up to Gordon Vale and we'll have a chat down the road.
Thank you.
Thanks, John, for your question. We're now going to Mackay.
Just keep an eye on the time.
It's John Edwards here, Miriam Sub-Branch. My question is for our President, Tony. Over the years, I have been honoured to perform a fair few poppy services. In the last 12 months, what we get delivered as a poppy, a symbol of the RSL, is absolute bloody disgrace. It's a piece of red rag on a piece of wire. Why can't you, as our state president, find the decent poppy that we used to have and get it back into our market, instead of this piece of red rag that you seem to be able to supply us with? Thank you, Tony.
Thanks, John. Probably not a job for me, probably a job for somebody at Anzac House, but we'll certainly go down that path and see what we can find. Say again?
If you want a job done, you're supposed to go to the top.
I am, mate. You're at the top. I'm the state president. I'm at the bottom of the pyramid. We'll look into it, mate, and we'll come back to you.
Okay, we've got a question in Toowoomba now.
G'day, I'm Scott May. I'm the president of the Toowoomba RSL. This question's more relating to membership and marketing. During your presentation there, you made mention of unification of all the ESOs, yet then you later referred to them as direct competitors. What I want to know is that you stated that you want to try and unify all these ESOs, yet Mates for Mates is one of RSL's biggest competitors that I have found through my involvement within RSL and other veterans organisations, yet it's very little a known fact that within the younger, sort of more contemporary population, that Mates for Mates is the RSL. And then you also stated that you're trying to make membership for RSL a lot easier. Why is it that there's a bigger take-up of members joining Mates for Mates when you have to do psychological screening to become a mate and so on and so forth, yet for a current defence member to join the RSL, it's a single-page form that's free to join? What exactly is RSL Queensland going to be doing to make a single-page form with no joining fee for current serving members simpler?
Thank you, Scott. There's a number of questions in there, I think, and I'm just sort of processing how we get to all of them for you. I do know that there's commentary certainly to be made on the point you raised around ESOs, and yes, they were referred, ESOs generally have been referred to as competitors this morning in a marketing sense in context of the development of a member value proposition. Because the strength of a member value proposition is very clearly linked to your position in the market and how attractive you are to those you're there to serve. There is also, in a separate conversation, there's certainly commentary to be made about the unification and embracing other ex-service organisations in order to enhance and improve how we actually deliver support to the veteran community. And that work is certainly on our radar for early 2021. In saying that, there's also a lot of work currently being done to collaborate with other ex-service organisations, and you will also know that some of our service catalogue some of those services are performed through partner organisations. The other point you raise is around the application process. And on that point, because it is certainly something that's being discussed by the State Branch team currently, I might ask Lisa McIlroy, GM of Membership and Network, to make comment. Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks, Mel. Scott, great question, and I guess in terms of what RSL needs to do to make ourselves more attractive, I think that's where the member value proposition will help us, and the research that's currently being undertaken will help us to understand what it is that we need to do to be more relevant in the marketplace for RSL Queensland members. In relation to the application process, our Head of Membership, Teresa Brook, is actually doing a piece of work at the moment to actually track what it looks like for a member in terms of that whole application process, and there'll no doubt be some improvements that we can make in the short term until the member value proposition is finalised towards the end of this year. And Teresa's in Toowoomba, Scott, as well, if you wanted to seek her out.
Yep. Just regarding the membership, this is a sort of a second part of the question. This is something that another ESO that I'm involved in, Young Veterans, we used to collaborate with an RSL down in Brisbane there, and then it was facilitated through RSL Queensland that basically another ESO was set up, and then we received a notice to all of our members that we are no longer welcome at the Pine Rivers RSL through this third ESO, which has subsequently pushed people away from that particular sub-branch. We have been actively trying to get them to rejoin other sub-branches in the area because Young Veterans insist that we collaborate with ESOs. However, you've got an organisation that's been propped up by state that is driving members out. Is that something that has been looked at or assessed? Because it has been addressed, but it's something that was sort of fallen by the wayside. And yet again, trying to collaborate with one another, and it was just falling on deaf ears.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. I think given that it sounds like quite a unique set of circumstances there, I'm sure Lisa and certainly Teresa, who's with you in Toowoomba, would be very keen to hear more about that so that we can help navigate through that for you.
No worries. Thank you. That was all I had.
Thanks, Scott. And we'll take one last question in Brisbane.
Libby Brown, Burin District Sub-Branch. I did the wellbeing course from state in September, October last year at Kilcoy. I still have no piece of paperwork that actually says I have done the training. It was passed as a board meeting by RSL State that someone at RSL State issues certificates. That's never occurred. I believe that's a shortfall in the system. Thank you.
Thank you, Libby, and thanks for bringing that to our attention. And rest assured, I've just made a note. You're right. If something slips through the net, we'll find it and we'll revert back.
All right, well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for all your questions and a fruitful discussion today.